What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of 3 for the Killer Inside, the Mind of Aaron Hernandez limited series. That was a mouthful. That was one take, so I'm very impressed with myself. So on the count of 3, gonna click play at the blame dime. I can't talk. We're gonna click play at the same time. Before we do that, make sure to click the big old red subscribe button down below and like the video. Thank you. And here we go. Grab my controller. 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Let me lower this so I don't get copyright strike because, companies like to do that. So here's my thing. They're already saying out the jump for episode 2 that I'm assuming his agent is trying to get him marketing deals. Can't really market a murderer. Just saying. I mean, I'm happy they're making the joke of it because, haha, it's funny. But you can't really market a murderer while he's still going through all the trials and tribulations. Just gonna be honest. I mean, maybe you could, market him as, maybe advertise the jail. Spokesperson, hey, if you get arrested, come here. It's a great place. I mean, why the fuck would you try to get Aaron Hernandez marketing deals while he's in jail? I mean, I understand you want to get paid because that's your job and shit, but come the fuck on. Really? A marketing deal? I hate people. I also love how I basically have no neck. Like, I'm just straight head to body. I'm just like the dude in fucking, what do you call it, in 90 Day Fiancé. It's just, you're my pretty sunset type face. Just gonna sit like this the whole time so you just see neck. At least have a little bit so you see like this much. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, because he's a murderer. Well, everyone who's attached to the Patriot name has been duped. Who the fuck is this guy now? Like what? So then right there's 3 murders unattached to his name. Love to hear that. I don't know what the number is, but wouldn't that classify him in toward like the serial killer kind of esque area? Especially because he's alleged those links to, I think, even people in Florida when he played for University of Florida, that he may have allegedly popped some people down there too. So that could be like 4 or 5 right there. Just throwing that out there. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, well, don't murder people. You wouldn't be in this position. Simple as that. Regardless of why he did it, just don't murder people. See, me and you, we're watching this or listening to this or whatever you're doing. You know what you're not doing? Murdering people. Bro, you're doing life in jail. That's facts. Big facts. Yeah, but I'm also closer to my cousin than I am my own mother, so it's not like a big deal. Okay, and I'm not showing support for what I'm about to say, but having a ride or die like his cousin is a little impressive. I'm saying that not impressive is the wrong word, but it's like in any other situation where it's not like a legal thing going on, it's commendable because you want to be like, oh, someone who's down for them no matter what, You always talk about, oh, I'm a ride or die, then you don't commit to it. This person's legitimately like, I will never snitch on my cousin no matter what. And I guess it's like, I don't know. It's not a good thing because she's defending a murderer, so. Oh, and she's in jail with cancer. Jesus. Carrying like an oxygen tank and shit. I mean, at least they had a good relationship besides of what we know was bad. I mean, I can kind of understand, like, you cared about someone in your life so much, that's such a big part, and it's like, well, they're gone now. And it's like, well, now what the fuck do I do? Oh, jeez. University of Florida. Well, no shit. I mean, no offense, and I'm from the state of Connecticut. UConn compared to Florida, football-wise, ain't shit. You had a chance to go to fucking U of F. Instead of, if your chances are U of F or UConn, for literally most sports, I'm choosing Florida like 9 times out of 10 before UConn. Unless it's like basketball. And I'm a woman. Because then I'm going straight to UConn because they're breeding fucking WNBA talent like it's nothing. Men's basketball's been kind of in, but this time they were good. So, like, I don't know. But also, I mean, we don't support Florida over here. We support Miami Hurricanes. Fuck the Gators. Support that shit. I mean, we fuck with Tom Thibodeau. Tim Tebow, but, it's whatever. It's not. Alabama's pretty much up there, but that's just me, though. Or any team in, well, I was going to say the SEC, but they are in the SEC, so. I'm shut up now. Excuse me. He's only the coach for 5 years. Well, no shit. But that 2008 Florida Gator team was stacked. Bro, they were nasty. And you had the fucking MVP of the team, Tim Tebow. I mean, he was the face of the Gators during that time. He was the guy. Excuse me. It's like 8:39. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. No, fuck this speech. Show the one where they lost. It was like after the national championship, I believe. And then he has like the greatest speech in all of sports. And I'm just like, makes me want to run through a wall for that man. He was probably the only clean image about the University of Florida at that time. Man was all about God more than God is himself. And they loved that shit. Who was about that life. Well, no shit. Well, yeah, but most teams like that wouldn't. Like, that's why they have depth. So, they don't have to worry about, oh, well, if one guy's out, we're fucked. They're like, well, we have 4 other guys who are just as capable, if not more, potentially, to take this guy's spot, so we're fine. Playing Alabama. Nick Saban country. And it's like, I'm not going to sit here and say it was like a waste of talent type shit, because, like, it's a whole conversation. But that man was a baller. Like, as much as he was a piece of shit off the field, on the field, before we knew he was a bad person, the man was really good at fucking football. I don't know about that, but he was alright. And there's some, like, I think there's like a 30-minute video on YouTube that kind of just covers the 2008 Florida Gators team. Haven't watched it, but from, like, what I've seen of, like, comments, it's, like, supposed to go in depth about the team and, like, kind of what was really going on at the time. So I'm sure if you look up, like, Florida Gators 2008, and, like, it'll probably be one of the first videos that comes up, to be honest. Well, any Power 5 school, you're gonna have, like, a team that's serious. Now, who the fuck is this guy now? So what I don't get so far is, who the fuck is this guy from the University of Wisconsin, this former player? And then who's the fucking guy from the Patriots that they said who's a former Patriot? Like, did he play with Aaron? Like, I don't understand. Because, like, at least the first guy kind of made sense, because played for the Patriots at a time and was also, if allegedly, understood the whole, behind the closet football player, aspect. Which, again, I still think is kind of bullshit, but whatever. But that's just me. So anybody who's listening to, like who didn't watch episode 1, please watch that. It'll be in the description down below. But in the first episode, they kind of basically say that, at least, again, to me, that it's implied that part of him doing what he's done was the fact that he was masking his sexuality. But only one guy was talking about it, and that guy was originally lying about even his playing time in high school together. Because you do 1 ounce of research, the guy that they use in this documentary, Derek something, whatever the fuck that guy's name was, wasn't even the starting quarterback in high school for Aaron Hernandez. It was some other kid. I don't remember the kid's name, but he wasn't even the starter. So, like, it's like, and now that's where, like, all right, he kind of lied about that. So what else is he, like, is he lying about the other thing? Like, I don't know. I mean, he's got a kind of got a good point. At least with the football thing, I mean, I understand a lot of people have respect for football players and, like, athletes in general, which I kind of don't really get, in my opinion. But, like, that doesn't, I don't know. Just because, like, dudes in the town who are, like, the known like guys or whatever, just because they like fuck with you on an aspect of oh well we're gonna pay him a little respect and not fuck with him because he plays football. It's like most people don't really give a shit. I mean, they may say they will, but the moment you do something against them, they're like, okay, it's over for you, my guy. So unless you're like some connected to like their people or whoever. That's just me though. I don't know. Who the fuck uses black and milds to roll weed? Motherfuckers just use Dutches or games or whatever. I'm not. Not that I'm focusing way too much on that. That's just stupid. So maybe he wanted to get caught. Huh? Yeah, I mean, you can obviously tell that he didn't do a job at all to hide it. Besides, like, the initial, like, whatever they did at that site, wherever they killed him or shot him or whatever. It just kind of sounds like he did this shit on purpose. So if I'm just, again, putting this together in my head, all I'm thinking is, you know, I had the theory in the first episode that, the reason this jumps all over is because it's called the Mind of Aaron Hernandez. So, I'm thinking is maybe it's a creative choice of, how he felt in his head due to a lot of these issues going on was to match the documentary. Like, it's all over the place, so that's what we're going to do the documentary. So maybe knowing about how in the first episode that, he wanted structure again and he likes being in jail and this and that maybe even with everything going on, him being successful in the NFL, him having all this money, can have access to kind of whatever he wanted, I guess, at the time, that he did this on purpose to get in jail to feel a sense of normalcy again. Because, he doesn't have his father. It doesn't seem like he's really around his family besides, like, his cousin and then, like, friends or whoever. But maybe that's just my guess, that he did that shit on purpose. Not because there was, like, an issue with Odin or anything specific. Just more of, like, this is how I get back to jail, I guess. I mean, I'm sure he could have picked anything else, but maybe he was like, I know this, I'm going to go too far, and, like, life in prison's easier than going back to what I was doing. That's just my guess. I don't know. I'm not Aaron. I'll never know because Aaron's dead. So, Jesus. But also that's like in any major college like that where players can just get away with whatever the fuck they want, and that's part of the problem. They're treated like they're above the law, and they're not. choice. Damn. All right, Dick. Jesus. I mean, because you can, especially in that area, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Plus, especially as long as you're winning, and how good they were then. Yeah, I'm sure these guys were unfucking stoppable. Like, how could you not? What the fuck does that even mean? I don't see. I don't understand that because it's not like gay people don't have tattoos and are tatted the fuck up. Like, I have plenty of friends who are also gay who are tatted the fuck up. So, I don't know. I don't know. I may be overreacting with that whole thing, but every time they bring it up, it just feels like forced because there's only one guy talking about it, and I'm sure, I'd imagine that Aaron probably, if he was, as in the closet as he is, was still probably hooking up with guys throughout his college career. So, well, yeah. Urban Meyer doesn't give a fuck. He didn't give a shit probably in Utah or Florida and definitely Ohio State and definitely will not give a fuck in Jacksonville. Especially now that he's going to the NFL and he's dealing with fucking dudes who are adults. Like, these motherfuckers have been in the league for a minute. So, and he's getting his, especially if the Jags still draft Trevor Lawrence, he's going to get his own version of Tim Tebow. A guy who's very religious, very about winning and the team and doing what he can to, keep up this nice image of, wholesome family shit. So, well, no shit, lady. No one knew the Aaron Hernandez that he knew himself. One of those. But see, even with how he's talking about transgender people in jail, that wasn't like brand new back then for people to say dumb shit like that. Call them things or them or say shit that's just rude. So, I also meant to fill my water and I didn't, but it's probably for the best. So, I mean, he was a top man, essentially. Well, correct. I mean, you don't know that, but ah, man. Probably Aaron, the way his fucking trigger finger is. Well, correct. I mean, look at the shit that happened with Baylor a few years ago, where all these players and coaches knew about all the issues with rape on the fucking campus, and none happened except a couple people got fucking suspended and the coach got fired, but like nothing really happened. But that's a huge problem with college sports in general, especially when it's like basketball or football. So like these guys they don't act like it. They are on another level. That's because the community allows that, the school allows that, people within the city allow it. It's like people just allow it because football and basketball bring in millions upon millions of dollars for these colleges, and these players are the reason for it. Like, I mean, because if you're not winning, you ain't doing shit. But if you're like them, especially at this time, the Gators were dominant as shit back then. Like, they were the team back then. And now that's Alabama, of course, but still. Yeah, but he's not going to be, especially due to his injuries. I mean, that's not surprising. Social maturity. A Juan. Jesus. Oh, yeah, I'm sure that happens a lot too, where players test hot for shit. Whether it's weed, coke, whatever, and colleges just pass that shit along. But weed is like, that's a whole other conversation, but 8 times during the 2010 regular season, my God. And what was he, like a third round pick, I believe? And then Gronk was what, second round? And like early second though? Excuse me. 2010, I was what, 16? So I was probably watching this draft. So, but hey, I mean, in this draft, there we go. Yeah, Gronk went to the 40, not the 49ers, the Patriots. Yeah, stuck around 42nd. That's still early as shit. Sorry, fourth round. My bad. Who the fuck is that guy? Like, I just don't. I don't understand why he's there. Is it just because he played for the Patriots at one point? I would say let me look on my phone, but I'm kind of using it to record, so. Oh, well, I mean, yeah. All right, had a little change a little bit because it got really hot in my room and didn't want to deal with that. Excuse me. I don't know about that, but we can argue that. Well, it makes sense. I mean, because he's less than 3 hours away from his friends. Love that. Ooh, we love a drug kingpin. Ooh, a gun dealer in CT. What's up? Hit my line. God, why am I like just itchy all of a sudden? I like showered right before this. Just didn't do enough. I didn't do a good job. Oops. Huh. Yes, I've done those things. Oh, he legit is still bleeding in the crotch. Which, by the way, getting shot in the groin and then you're just like, I'm gonna run back inside and shoot this place the fuck up. Doesn't really make sense. Correct. That doesn't make sense, but okay. I mean, just because you don't have a dealer doesn't mean you're not gonna hang out with fucking bad people still. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, sure. Does it cut out, being around certain bad people because you can go to a dispensary and buy marijuana? Yes. But that doesn't mean just because, well, I go to dispensary now, doesn't mean I'm not going to hang out with bad people. It means I can just hang out with other bad people. Well, that doesn't change anything. Excuse me, I'm so rude. But well, no shit. Also, a lot of those guys are ring fucking chasing. But now a lot of those guys have left New England, like Mr. Tom Brady, to be happy. So, well, yeah. I mean, obviously, you play to win the game. Herb Edwards said it best. But Tom Brady's won a Super Bowl without New England, so this conversation can go fuck itself now. And look what they did this year. Didn't do shit. Oh yeah, because there's structure. There's fucking crazy. Excuse me. There's like structure. There's balance, and there's people on your ass at all times. Correct. See, it's something that I feel like they haven't talked about, which I don't really get, is the fact that this motherfucker could have had CTE really bad. Like, where was that conversation at? Everyone's focusing on his sexuality, his parents dying, this, and that, and all whatever. He played football at a time where guys were tackling head first into each other. So, and plus, I'm sure he had concussions throughout his entire playing career. You know what I mean? So, I don't understand. I feel like CTE probably played a bigger part than most people expect. Just gonna be honest, but that's just me though. He's not going. He's not getting out of jail. No shit. I mean, I still like. I don't know how I feel about her. Not like in a way where like my opinion matters or whatever, but just like I mean, again, I don't know how much she really knew about him unless she knew about him like in ways that again we don't know. Like like a normal person would know him, obviously because they're in a relationship, but like she must have seen things that like showed signs of hey maybe this isn't like maybe these are a lot of red flags I'm just not talking about. Well, correct. To see with the marijuana thing though, that's not like that uncommon though that people who smoke pretty much all the time, like every day. I know people who are like I guess you can call them potheads or stoners, whatever the fuck you want to label them, who smoke all the time, still function. They're not like this stereotype of people who are like lazy and do this or who are just hungry and when they get high they just sit around and do nothing and want to eat a bunch of garbage. I know most people I know, if not every single one of them I know that are heavy weed smokers still are functional, still live lives and do things that like it's not like it makes you any fucking different. At least for most people. Now, yes, you're gonna have those people who don't have good reactions to marijuana and all that, and that happens plenty of times. But I mean, I just think marijuana gets a bad rap for so long, but especially because all those politicians who sit there and shit on weed, a lot of times they end up getting caught for weed and other worse shit. So, the fuck out of here with that. Well, correct. I mean, that's fair, but sorry, I'm itching my arm. Oh yeah, he's running a two tight end set. And not even, yeah, but it's not that it worked immediately because of Belichick so good. It's because he had two great fucking tight ends. Like, if he would have drafted Rob Gronkowski and some other fucking random shitty tight end that came out that year, this isn't working. This is not the same result as it is with Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski. They both were, well, Rob is still in the league, but at the time they were really good tight ends. So it wasn't like it was all Bill either. These guys were ballers. I mean, if Aaron didn't do this dumb shit and like be a bad person, they would have been, like I said in the first episode I did with this, way more dominant than they were. So, or at least in my opinion, they would have probably done better. He also, in that clip they just showed, he just got fucking rocked in the head by Ray Lewis. But a lot of guys deal with that too, where they're in pain a lot of the time because of football. Like Matthew Stafford this last year came out that he had a slew of injuries that he was playing with throughout the entire year. I mean, this whole fact that I'm sure a lot of these guys in the NFL play at less than 100% and probably less than 90%. That that's not uncommon. That's a face mask. Me. I mean, but again, I'm sure that shit is more common in the NFL like it is anywhere else. I mean, shit. Even like Calvin Johnson was like, yeah, they were trying to pump me with shit, and like I was in pain all the time. With CTE, correct. That's who I really worry about, especially when it comes to this shit. Is dudes who played like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and before who were still alive. Because CTE is no fucking joke. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy. Yeah, memory loss, depression, and dementia are just some of the symptoms that you get. Huh? Like Junior Seau, he legit took his own life due to him having CTE. He shot himself in the chest. So that look at that. Speaking of that, Junior Seau. Just as the moment I brought him up, they talk about him. He shot himself in the fucking chest. I mean, he was one of like all of our favorite players. He was an animal in the league. I mean, that must have been so dope, especially that dude who's a legend. I'm so sick of that narrative that like just because someone's a good person doesn't mean like, well, it's like, well, I never thought he'd take his life. It's like you don't know what people deal with behind the scenes. Like this guy obviously had issues that were not being addressed because again, that wasn't something that was really known at the time. Which is insane that he came to that thought. He's like, fuck this, I need to get my brain worked on. So I'm going to shoot myself in the chest. Go through that pain so that science can use my brain to see what, to help advance the understanding of CTE for future players who will, deal with this. Yeah, look at that. That brain is like nothing. It's like dry compared to like a normal brain. It's just looks like it just like beat the fuck up because it is. CTE is no fucking joke. That's why a lot of people don't want their kids to play football. So, I mean, same thing with like a Chris Benoit. It's a different situation, but he also had tons of head trauma. I mean, the guy fucking snapped and shot himself and his family. Like, the shit fucks with you on a level that you don't understand. All right, there. I don't want to watch this shit. So anyone who's watching, I'm sure you're seeing the whole Baltimore New England game where Billy Cundiff goes wide left, misses the field goal, and then lets New England go to the end of the Super Bowl that year in 2012. As a Ravens fan, this hurts to watch because people forget, keyword people forget, that before the Billy Cundiff play, Lee Evans dropped a game-winning touchdown, which then led to Baltimore having to kick the field goal, which then led to Billy Cundiff missing a wide left, and then my life being a fucking nightmare for the next few weeks. Because at school, that's all I heard was Billy Cundiff this, Billy Cundiff that. But the next year they won, so I was okay with it. I got my revenge. Oh my god, that must have been Aaron Hernandez Day. See, like, that's all good and fun because, like, her son is playing for the Patriots and he's a big time player and it's all cool to show support and all this and that. And I'm sure people are like, oh, if we knew what we knew then, we wouldn't have done it. It's like, no shit. But nobody knows that this man's a murdering piece of shit behind the scenes. I get that. As much as I hate that I relate to that, I get it. Did they win the Super Bowl that year? Who'd they play? Oh, it's the Giants. Yeah, they lost. Okay, just making sure. See, the Giants means they lost. But this is the second time too, because this wasn't 2007. This was 2010. I mean, that's kind of true, but did he even? Yeah, did he even consider it anything good anyway? I mean, exactly. We don't know what this guy inside of his head was fucking going on. I mean, obviously the guy was fucked mentally. Well, especially then, yeah, I'm sure he probably would have got a lot of shit. But even now, I imagine there's still plenty of players who are, I'd assume, closeted still because, especially in sports, being gay or bisexual or whatever sexuality people may identify with, sports are still very homophobic. It's a sad reality and it's fucking stupid. Or at least a lot of male sports are. Like women's sports, they're very open to having a lot of gay players. That's not uncommon. But for stuff like the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, it's not that common to have dudes who are open to coming out of the closet and playing sports. Cause people think, because I imagine people are like, oh well, they're together all the time and they shower together. This is not. It's like I doubt the showering thing is an issue. I'm sure they change in front of each other, but it's not like just because if a player is gay that because they change in front of a room with other guys like, well, I'm checking them all out. They're like, I got to do a job. Like I'm sure most of them, all of them are like, hey, I got to do a fucking job. Like this is my job. I'm not here to like play around with these guys, do whatever. I'm here to do my job and get the fuck out. Like correct. But also though, if that's the environment he's raised in, like, and that's what he knows. God, I'm sorry, my arm is really itchy. And that's the environment that he knows, and like that's what he's used to. I'm sure it's probably what he's gonna do. He's like, well, that's what I fucking grew up doing. Who the fuck is this guy? Did he know Aaron Hernandez? Or did he just a guy who played for the Patriots that thinks he knows what the fuck he's talking about? Correct. The Dallas Cowboys do it fucking constantly. Like that's not new for them. Correct. 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 Can't blame New England for that. That's not, how the fuck do you like? I mean, yeah, any guy could have fucking character issues or off the field issues, but that doesn't mean you know what the fuck is gonna go on. So that just sounds like the guy just has a really bad fucking temper. I mean, sure, anybody who gets a drink spilled on them probably would be pissed, but what does that mean? Oh, there we go. Someone's son. Correct. And what's weird is that, like, I'm sure his teammates may have read the paper that day in 2012. I'm like, oh, man. Damn, these two guys got killed. That's crazy. Blah, blah, blah. And then the guy who killed it just walks through the door. Ah, man. I really hope that Mike didn't click that, but we gonna find out. Yeah, no, no, no. I'm probably not a single one of them. But also, that wasn't like a thing that was known to most people that he had done shit in like in Florida, Gainesville, or Miami, or whatever the fuck. Huh? Huh? Role model. How'd that work out? I don't think that well. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. Correct. I mean, he got away with the shit, so. I mean, but that's the perfect cover up, though. Excuse me. You're not gonna think a guy who is getting ready for the NFL season, or the season just over, that it'd be him. So, because I don't expect to be the guy who's like part of the Patriots and shit. But again, though, that's like that could happen to fucking anybody. Could have happened to the Chiefs, the Browns, the Jaguars, any of the 32 teams that, or the other 31 teams, excuse me, that could have drafted him. Could have been literally anybody, and this would have been a different story. I mean, would it have been as big if he had played for like the Raiders or I don't know, the fucking Vikings or the Browns or the Jets, or well, maybe the Jets, but like if they were like in a small market essentially because of the fact that they're not like the Patriots or the Giants or Jets, because that's a huge market they're in, or if they were like a small market team that like the St. Louis Rams at the time, like would that have been a big of a deal? It probably still would have made national headlines, but I don't think that to this level. Just give me $1 million and I'm set. Excuse me? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, I understand why they're not answering questions, because, like, what can you really say? I mean, because imagine, like, it's a guy. Okay, you can't you can't compare what happened to Aaron to OJ because it's a whole different fucking conversation. But back to the Gronk thing. What can they really say? Oh, hey, did you know he was going to murder people? No, because I play with the guy. It doesn't mean I'm best friends with the guy. And sure, we worked together, but, like, it's not, like, that big of a deal. Like, I didn't, how the fuck am I supposed to know that? It wasn't like, hey, I'm Aaron. It's nice to meet you. You're Rob? Nice to meet you. Hey, in a couple of years, I'm going to, like, fucking shoot people in the head. But don't worry about it. It's not going to be you, though. It's like, no one fucking knows that. No one could guess that. Like, even if he said, oh, like, I smoke weed or whatever, Rob would be like, all right, cool, I party too, like, cool. Like, just, I mean, they obviously were not friends. I mean, Rob was probably best friends with fucking Gronk, so. I mean, sorry, Rob was probably best friends with Tom Brady, not him fucking self. But he probably did love himself, so, you know, I wouldn't have put it past him, to be honest. Well, because he probably knew, he's like, shit, oh, I could get arrested for the shit I did. Correct. I can imagine. He might yummy. So right now, he's got at least at this time, 2 people murdered. Right. Ooh, Tootsie's. The club he went to with his friends in college. Exciting. Good point. That would make sense. But also, I don't think they would have followed him to Miami, though. It's kind of a weird thing to do. And, I mean, they're not going to follow a football player like that. They would probably just questioned him back in Boston. Like, at least that's me. So, I don't know. Huh? Damn. Some friend he is. Just out on the ground bleeding. So that's possibly, I mean, the guy's not dead, but that could have been, 3 bodies right there? Like, the fuck? Well, thankfully he did, because that guy would have been dead. Also, I just got hella low in this camera, because my leg is starting to bother me now. Ugh. What's up, dog? Bitch, who do you think this is? You know who I am. Well, everyone, that was episode 2 of the Aaron Hernandez documentary. So this man is off his shit, and he's been for a while. Shooting his friends, shooting random people, probably doing a bunch of drugs, doing a bunch of whatever, but episode 3 is right here, so just click that next episode if it's not up yet. Just probably wait a day or so. Make sure to like and subscribe. Please, I would appreciate that. Also, all the audios from this series I'm doing and all the previous ones and all the future ones, that'll be in the description down below so you can listen to that so you don't have to come to the channel if you want to. Thank you, and I'll see you all next time.